match today. New Zealand comes back roaring,
Yes. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
and
Absolutely
then
right.
bowling also. Yeah? No, the batting first. Check.
Hmm. Interesting game what we have today on our hands, guys,
Good.
ladies and gentlemen, and good morning. It's our first early morning live stream. You might be wondering, early morning, 10 a.m. is quite early for a lot of us.
It's
So,
early for
early
me.
morning live stream, yeah, early for me as well. It's our wake up time, but nonetheless, we have pulled ourselves up to make it to you all early morning. If you all are awake, do join us for a breakfast session with all of us. You can have your breakfast, watch us, and get some insights and some really good gyan on the conditions on the teams and
Yeah.
how the game is going to be played out today in the morning.
I mean,
Firstly, morning game
I
in
just have to say
Bangalore.
one thing,
Jared.
before we get into it.
Yeah.
The game's happening in Bangalore, and the best thing ever that happened was, so that how they're having pre-toss discussion, and they're like, it was
Uh-huh.
very cloudy when the whole thing was starting, and they're like, yeah, it's a very cloudy morning. There'll be some support for the bowlers early on, and Mayanti Langer is like, teams will look to choose to ball first because of the overhead conditions. Then
Huh.
Barber and Williamson walk out, and it's sunny, and it's like the most Bangalore thing ever to be
Yeah.
cloudy the whole day, and then all of a sudden the sun comes out.
Don't
It's
get fooled around with the clouds in the morning in Bangalore. We've all stayed there, wait for 1 p.m., and it's gonna clear up. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna break. The pitch is gonna start breaking by 12:31. I know this Bangalore weather. We all know this. It's
yeah,
beautiful. It's beautiful in the morning. It's 10 a.m.
yeah,
The sun is just peeping out. It's November. There can be cloudy days till 1, 2, but it's gonna get hotter. It's just gonna get hotter and hotter, and it's cool. It'll cool down later in the evening. By that time, the game will be over, done and dusted. But I woke up to a very bad news in the morning. That's Hardik Pandya ruled out of the World Cup. But Yeah, it is what it is. We saw this kind of comment. Prasidh Krishna has been named the replacement, but
yeah.
nonetheless, we are here to talk about New Zealand and Pakistan. Kane Williamson is back. My brother Kane is back with my brother Rachin is also there. So a lot of my brothers are playing for New Zealand. So how do you see this, Jaren? Kane Williamson is back in the team alongside Mark Chapman, who's also making a way in for Jimmy Neesham and Ish Sodhi. Interesting pick, you reckon, in a ground like Chinnaswamy. But if you are ready to ball well in Chinnaswamy, you still will get wickets. But Pakistan have gone with four pacers
Yeah.
in Chinnaswamy, which I think is also not a good idea. In Chinnaswamy, you ball fast, you still go fast. I still believe in that. Jaren, what do you reckon about the teams to start off with?
Yeah, I think the Jimmy Neesham one has obviously been a forced change because of I think he's going through some injury if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Um, Aside from that, Kane Williamson one was again expected, and I think Will Young obviously not. I think it was obviously going to be between Will Young and Rachin Ravindra, and Rachin Ravindra has proved that he's a bigger asset to this team. Now, on the other hand, I think it's a little bit drier surface, is what I'm hearing in the is what I heard at least in the pre-match, the pitch report as well, that it's a lot drier than what you expect at Chinnaswamy. So that's probably the reason why you're seeing a Kane Williamson come into picture. I mean, not a Kane Williamson, rather an Ishodi come into picture is what I understand. But on the other hand, Hassan Ali coming in, I think Hassan Ali will do a far better job than an Usman Mir, and you don't want an Usman Mir to ball a full toss or a drag down on a in a ground where even a 60 what do you say, even a good delivery gets smashed outside at 60-meter boundary. So Pakistan have felt that at least with Hassan Ali they'll be able to mitigate the damage, and with Usman Mir I don't think they'll be able to control this New Zealand team at all, and especially I think someone like Daryl Mitchell would love facing in Usman Mir. So understandable why they've gone for it, but then yeah, I mean, interesting to see how things are going to be, especially given the fact that two teams have gone with two different combinations, because you don't see that usually, right? You always see both the teams go with the same combination, so
I think
either one
New
of them
Zealand
has
is handicapped to an extent because they did not have anybody else to bring in. Kyle Jamieson was the best option. I don't think Kyle Jamieson at Chinnaswamy track is a good option at all. Until unless you're going to give him the new ball and expect him to swing around a little bit, I think he will be still mitigate. He'll still be a bowler who
yeah, but
can
then,
go on for many runs, plenty. He can go for plenty. So Isodi is still an attacking option in that regard. And Pakistan
yeah,
struggles against wrist spin to a large extent. I believe both right arm and left arm. So not a bad option to bring in is Suri. And if you're ready to ball well in Chinnaswamy wicket, and as you mentioned, if the pitch breaks down, one thing about Chinnaswamy is that even in 20 overs day games, in the second innings it's harder to bat because the pitch does break down. And
Yeah.
unlike the 20 overs day and night games where the dew comes in, the pitch settles in even better. But when you play longer in Chinnaswamy, one thing you shouldn't do, especially in day games, is to bat second because it really gets hard. The ball really does tend to slow down. We've seen a lot of games, even in this IPL, Jaren, how that you it's very hard to make strokes or play strokes. A lot of these teams chasing in IPL in day games have lost in Chinnaswamy recently.
Yeah.
And even if you look at that game, Australia versus Pakistan, the game in which Australia couldn't really score a lot of runs, after the start they came down drastically, crashing. That's because of the slow nature of that pitch. And then it got better because, under lights, the pitch got much better to play on. That whatever what you saw was really taken away. So I reckon, it could have been a 60-40 decision, but I still would have inclined to put New Zealand to ball first because of the very reason that they've not been comfortable bowling first in the last two occasions.
True, and they have gone for quite a lot of runs as well. But I think it's also, in many ways, Pakistan trying to do what has actually worked for them. They've it's all. I think in the 5 games that they have won, they have won 3 batting second, and I think 2 batting first. Decided,
Okay.
that it works for them to bat first, and the idea is, our strength is much more important to augment our strength than, maybe put the opposition in under the pump. And I can understand that it's a big game, and you don't want to, go outside your comfort zone. I think the 2 games that Pakistan won by batting first, one of them was against Netherlands, and the other one was against, I think it was against Bangladesh, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, no, it was not
Yeah.
even against Bangladesh. Yeah, it was against Australia. No, not
When was
Australia is the one
this?
that they lost. Wait, they've won 2 games
They won
batting
two
for.
games. One was Netherlands, one was Sri Lanka, one was Bangladesh. That's it.
Yeah, Sri Lanka was the second one that they won chasing. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct,
But
correct, correct.
that was a record. That was a record
That was
total,
a
which was
record
basically
chase, but then
backed
it was
by.
also because it was an easy pitch to bat on. Nothing against
Yeah,
the
it was
Pakistan team.
under lights. The dew did come in,
Yeah,
so a lot of things did work in their favor. But
correct.
chasing under lights and chasing in daytime is two different things. And I think New Zealand would be rather comfortable batting first today because they would have felt like,
Hmm.
okay, if we are chasing again, what if we lose early wickets, and what if we are put in a position like what we were put in last time? So I think this really helps them, to be very honest, and this will really make them believe that okay, what we're doing right now is just good. If we can score an extra of 300, 340, then this Pakistan bowling attack can be put under tremendous pressure, and then batting attack can be put under tremendous pressure. Pick up some early wickets, maybe get in a Fakar Zaman who gave them the start. Then this Pakistan team can be really exposed because then they've got a Mitchell Sano who can operate well. Trent Bolt can really operate well. Then they can use the part timers as well, like so 10 Phillips or then if Sodi can come into the attack a lot more. So this is going to be very interesting to see from that perspective.
Absolutely, and you have to also understand that it's. I think this is going to be the pitch that Fakhar Zaman loves because he is a power player. He loves smacking the ball outside the ground, and it's a very what do you say? It's the most conducive pitch for that kind of batting. But then, having said that, this World Cup it's been a slightly bit drier, as you mentioned, Abel, and I think there's a little bit grass covering on the pitch, which might make it easier early on. But the difficulty, as you rightly mentioned, when you're playing a day game, is the fact that there's no dew, and secondly, imagine having played, close to 50 overs, or in fact, imagine close to 75 overs on a stretch on that pitch, right? By the time you're halfway into the second innings, you've already played 75 overs, 50 overs of the first batting team, and then again 25 overs of the other team. I think that does help a lot in wear and tear, right? And it's gonna be interesting to see how if a pitch is already dry, it's only gonna get drier, and or else it should be. I suppose it should get easier to bat maybe if the pitch isn't as dry as we're reading it. Maybe that's also thing, right? Both the teams have read it very differently. One team thinks it is flat. That's the only reason why I see Usman Mir not playing, and the other team believes that it's got something in it for the spinners. I still think that you wouldn't see a Kane Williamson all of a sudden decide to bring in an Ish Sodhi just because he feels that it's better than Kyle Jamieson to bring him in because you would say that Kyle Jamieson on a flat Chinnaswamy wicket, you don't want to play with 2 spinners. That's never going to work out for you. So I just believe that maybe there's something that they have observed in the pitch, considering that that pitch report has come out it being a little dry, and especially if they're bowling, since they're bowling second, Pakistan will have to face a little bit more turn than the opposition. That's for sure.
Absolutely, that's correct. Especially when it comes to Chinnaswamy, we don't know what is the true nature of Chinnaswamy these days. At least under lights, one thing is for sure, it gets easier to bat on. Your shot making becomes easier. A lot of big shots are played there. But for New Zealand from here on, after the game which they had against South Africa, how do you think they're going to come back? First question is, who's going to open the batting? Is it going to be Kane Williams who's going to open the batting? Or do you say Rachin Ravindra just pushed up and Kane Williamson batting at number three? In my opinion, Kane Williamson should open the batting. The Rachin Ravindra at three, as it is right now.
I think according to the team sheet that has been handed over, if I'm not wrong, it's Rachin Ravindra was opening the batting with
Yeah, it is
Kevin
Rachin
Conway.
Ravindra as per the team sheet. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, and I
That's
think Kane Williamson will never, I've never seen Kane Williamson shift to number four or number one, opening the batting unless it's a T20 game. And Rachin Ravindra has done it opening the batting, right? Remember his century against, I think it's against Pakistan only in that, it wasn't against Pakistan in the warm up game.
yeah. It was
Yeah,
against
so
Pakistan.
he was opening in that match, right? And I
Right, it
think
was.
so. It's not like he's someone who can't open. And Devon Conway and Rachin Ravindra have opened before for their domestic team in New Zealand. So these lads probably know each other better than Will Young and Devon Conway know each other. So I think that's a very good option. And then you've got two left hand batters, up against up against the likes of Shaheen Shah Afridi and Harris Roth. I think they love playing pace as well, especially someone like Rachin Ravindra. I think just adds a lot more to that team. The issue with Will Young has been the fact that he does tend to start a little slow, and so does Devon Conway. He takes the same amount of time. So I think overall, you just get that kind of now with Rachin Ravindra coming in, you get a little bit more impetus, and he is a lot more aggressive. If you ball it in his, if you ball a little too full, he goes after the balling, especially over the extra cover region, which is a beautiful shot that he plays. So expect a lot more aggressive New Zealand to come out today,
I mean, it'll be
especially if there's
interesting
nothing off the
because of
pitch.
two reasons, right? Because I personally feel the last game would have put them slightly underconfident. That's why I was of the opinion that if they're going to chase again, all the debacles would happen in the last couple of games is going to come back to haunt them to some extent. But them batting first, no pressure now. They can go into the clear thought, score as much runs as they want. Not a lot of turns is going to take in this space. They're going to go in. They've gone with four paces, and the fifth bowling option can be targeted once again with likes of Aga Salman and Iftikhar. So I think it's all well and good for New Zealand looking at how things have worked for them so far. And I personally think even for Pakistan, if they have to chase it down, they'll have to keep New Zealand down to a 330 or less than that, or else it's going to get really hard. Primarily because of two reasons. Pakistan, you saw they were comfortable chasing a 205 against Bangladesh, but even there, if you start losing wickets, they start going very quickly. You saw Fakhar Zaman was, I think it was Abdullah Shafi who got up first. Fakhar Zaman followed him. Then you saw another wicket also fall. Babar Azam also fell to, I think it was Mehdi who was bowling the last game. So it's easier to put them under a trap and say,
Yeah,
okay, you can really get into the middle order pretty quickly. And if that's going to be the scene where you're chasing 350, 360 yard, then you have Mitchell Santner or likes of Trent Bolt picking up wickets there, then Pakistan is going to feel the heat big time.
yeah. So now a factor that every Pakistani fan probably has to also know is that Pakistan to cross New Zealand's net run rate
35
has to win
overs.
by the end of 35 overs. I think today now that they're chasing, they have to finish the game off in 35 overs. So uh, interestingly enough, I think that's also probably a reason why they're looking to chase, because obviously it's easier, to chase than when it comes to net run rate. It's easier to chase than really set a target and hope that you win by 84 runs is what they otherwise needed. So I think having said that, now in as you rightly mentioned, I think it being 35 overs and looking at how quick Pakistan batting has been, I think they shouldn't they'll probably look to dismiss them below 250. To be very
Yeah.
frank, and anything below 300 at least, because you don't want to be, because you also
But
gonna
that's
face
going to be
England.
added pressure, right? The moment if New Zealand scores 320, 330 odd, then you
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
go behind the
But
35 over mark.
I'll also
It will
believe
put
it
you
will.
in serious trouble.
I'll still believe, as a team, you probably shouldn't look at the net run rate today because you're
Yeah,
importantly, this is a match you have to win. And the reason I say that is because you're facing England next. England are battered and bruised. They've lost games badly against India. They lost the game badly against a lot of other teams before Afghanistan as well, for instance. So they've had comprehensive defeats. And if you really want to boost up your net run rate, at least maybe this is not the match because this is a game where you have potential to lose really, and you have the potential to upset your rival to number four spot. So
yeah,
maybe win this game at whatever you do, win this game as much as you can without really a lot of hiccups. So maybe that 35 over mark, let it just pass through, and maybe against England take your chances because you would say that against England Pakistan have a better opportunity of not just winning but winning grand. But it also
ab-
depends on how today's Australia versus England match goes. Because if England can gain confidence today, not going to be easy against them in the next match. Because today they're playing their rivals.
absolutely, absolutely. I think that's about it from us for today morning. We'll be joining you guys in mid innings, that is around 1:32, for previewing the game Australia versus England, and also talking about what's happening in New Zealand versus Pakistan. How do you see that, Jaren? Let's come back at 2 in the afternoon. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
absolutely. And we'll be very interested to see how the first innings goes. I think it'll
yeah.
tell a lot about the pitch and what we can expect from the rest of the match.
Yeah, because right now we're still assuming. That's one thing I hate about previews, right? We're
Yeah,
assuming a lot. We do not know how things are. That's why I
yeah.
love mid innings. I always prefer mid innings shows because at least we are able to, gasp our thoughts, and we can actually know how to really go into the second innings, talk about how the pitch is played out, who are the players you can look into the next innings. So that's about it. Thank you, Jaren, once again, and wish you all a very good day, and see you all by 2 o'clock. I think the first innings gets over, 2:30, and we'll be joining you guys then.
Yeah.
All right, see you all. Bye.
Bye.